Lovely scenery there.
Oh. Got the Hawaiian shirt going.
Got the whole beach light going on there.
I like the sky.
We want to see the beach.
Yeah, we wanted to see the beach.
Beach. How are y'all?
Always gotta be in it.
We'd be better if we was down where you was at.
Well, I've got to sit outside here for a little bit, if that's okay, until the house clears out, and then I can go. I'll be going back inside the house if that works with everybody.
Oh, poor you.
Hey, we got my phone back.
Yes. All righty, I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. As always, we always start our meetings with opening prayer.
Heavenly Father, thank you for letting us gather here today. Please keep your arms of care over our citizens of Floyd County as they go about their business. For those who need help and healing, please grant them peace and comfort and healing as you wish. Thank you for letting us gather here today. Please watch over our decisions and may they be honorable to you. Let us watch our speech that it may be honorable to you. And in all things, thank you. Amen.
Amen. You want to do the pledge this morning?
Okay. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, you want to check our quorum?
All right, Mr. Chair, good morning. There you go. Good morning, everyone. And for those of you that, if I might, Mr. Chair, for those of you just walked in, if you are interested in speaking, please sign up. Otherwise, you're welcome to just hang out. So, thank you. Mr. Chair, in terms of quorum, Ms. Bechtold,
Here.
Ms. Cookenbook,
Here.
Mr. Cox,
Here by remote.
all right, Mr. Booth,
Here.
and Mr. Terman.
Here.
All right, we have a full quorum today, Mr. Chair.
Okay, if everybody's had a chance to look over the agenda, I'll take a motion to approve the agenda. Unless anybody has anything you want to add to it. Go ahead and comment.
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion is second.
We were having some internal
Yeah.
discussion, so it didn't change anything about that.
Corinda made the motion, and Linda second.
Yeah.
All right. And if I might, just for you all's edification as it relates to the agenda, Dr. Wheeler will not be here, even though he's on the agenda, so that is one change. They actually have a staff retreat at one of the schools this morning. So that's printed in here, but I think everything else is good. With that, Ms. Bechtold.
Yes.
All right, Ms. Cookenbook,
Yes.
Mr. Cox.
He said yes.
He said yes? Okay, he said yes.
He's got
Okay,
himself on.
okay. Mr. Booth, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Cox. Mr. Booth
Yes.
and Mr. Turner.
Yes.
All right, so the agenda is approved. Thank you.
And another, next item on our agenda is our approval of monthly disbursements.
And if I might, Mr. Chair, related to that, we are having some challenges. Our printer/copier is not functioning, has not been functioning for several days. So you all, we would appreciate your approval as those were emailed to you, but we don't have checks for anybody to sign today, so we'll have to have a party later. That'll be sad.
How about next Tuesday when we meet the judge? No, okay. Can't be tomorrow, I gotta go to West Virginia, so.
That's right.
So, Mr. Chair, that's our update related to disbursements and those questions.
If anybody have any questions? If not, I'll take a motion to approve the disbursements.
I'll move to approve the disbursements.
I'll second.
Motion second, Rick.
All right. All right, on the motion to approve the disbursements as presented, Ms. Cookenbook,
Yes.
Ms. Bechtold,
Yes.
Mr. Cox.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Mr. Booth
Yes.
and Mr. Terman.
Yes.
All right, thank you for approval of the disbursements. We'll get those out as soon as we can. And apologies to anybody in the public that's waiting for their checks. We're doing our best. Thank you.
David, looks like you get a little extra time this morning if you're go ahead and go forward. So, yes. You may need it. We've had a lot of storms this week.
We have had a lot of storms. In fact, that's one of the things on the list that wasn't our planned work, but obviously a lot of storm debris cleanup here and there, and we've been getting to that. But start off with the construction project we have this summer, which is Silverleaf, and that's probably not got off to as quick a start as we wanted because of the other things we've had to do, because that's being done by our crew in Czech, which is good because they know the area pretty well, know the road, know the people and everything like that, and we've been able to work out the right-of-way kind of agreements with the landowners. So it's going to go well. It's not a long road. We'll get it done pretty quickly. So Silverleaf's going to be our project, our construction project for this summer. Other things from just this past month is a lot of different kind of things. We've been here and there doing all kinds of little things. We've had pothole patching in the Willis area, in the Czech area on Crestview and New Haven, as well as some blading of asphalt kind of patching on Dobbins Hollow, Flieger, and Shooting Creek. Some ditching on Eanes and Grace on Little River Road. Some shoulder work on Storker's Knob. And then for the upcoming month, probably a lot more of the same variety of doing things and trying to get them worked in with the project on Silverleaf. Willis area, same kind of thing, cutting shoulders on Union School. The Motrin brush cutter was on Connor Grove and Burke's Fork. Some pothole patching on Firehouse and Dusty Rock. And we've still got some of the overlay work to do. The asphalt, hot mix asphalt is done, but there's quite a bit of surface treatment and slurry left to do. I'm not sure where they are in that. They may have started already, but I'm not positive. The long routes that we're doing some smaller stuff, but the largest surface treatment route is Fairview Church Road. There's 2 miles of that in Shooting Creek. There's about 4 miles of Shooting Creek on the surface treatment. And for slurry seal, there's about 1 mile in Needmore, right here near town, and about 1 mile on Connor Grove, as well as a few little shorter spots on the others. One of the surface treatment roads is Moles Road, too. If you recall, that was a project that we'd done a few years ago to get it paved all the way up to the end where the trail up to Buffalo is. But that we usually will go back after a year or so and make sure we get another layer on that. So that's all I have as far as updates. Go with construction, overlay, and regular maintenance. We were able to get, I think in the last month, we've been trying to work with the town on getting a street sweeper in and sweeping up all the stuff from winter, and we finally did get that done. So there's that. And we will continue working on we've got the ADA, the new ADA ramp in on 221 we'll get a flashing light, push button flasher kind of thing like we have in the other spots. That'll be a new spot there on 221 just up from Hardee's and Lodge. But that's a funding thing. We haven't gotten the safety funds allocated to us yet, but when we do, we'll get that in. So. And before you mention it, Mr. Herman, I know we still have not gone out I've actually brought a calendar this time, and was just looking at it. If we want to do it kind of quickly, if you want to go out and meet with that woman, we could do, I got a Giles board meeting the first Wednesday of the month of August. If, I think the next day would be the 4th. If the 4th would work for you, let's just I'll just come on down here on the 4th.
On the 4th of August?
4th of August.
Okay. But, yeah,
It's a little ways from now, but it's not too far away, and
Yeah,
that's,
let me look, make sure, because I got an
okay.
old-fashioned.
You can email me back or send me something,
Okay.
text or something, that's fine. I'll just propose the 4th. You can tell Dr. Millsaps, and she can email it to me. So anyhow,
Yeah.
that's all I have, but let's just go ahead and nail down a date, otherwise we just keep
Yeah.
saying, we'll do it,
I'll
we'll do
get
it.
back for tonight.
Yeah.
And make sure she puts it on there. So
Okay.
I'm gonna start down with Kalinda this morning.
Thank you for all the work you've been doing. I know that there's a lot to do and not a lot of resources to do it with. I think everything's going really well. The only thing I'm concerned about is the road work on 221 at night. Those flaggers are not safe. They were, I actually spoke to one of their supervisors after our last evening meeting, because they were placed behind at the crest of the hill with lights into oncoming traffic. Couldn't see them at all till you were on.
Right.
Till you
Yeah,
were
'cause
on
they're
them.
backlit, yeah.
Yeah, they were backlit, they
Yeah.
were back in the shadow. It was pretty close.
Okay,
So,
yeah.
I know that we've had ongoing issues with those flaggers and their positioning on 221 at night.
I mean, that's obviously a major concern.
Yeah.
Work zone safety for both workers and
Right.
drivers is a huge thing with VDOT, and we'll try to keep,
Oh, but in
Keep up.
Kalinda on that, I've actually had citizens too that complained that they've almost hit them. You know, they on top of them before they see them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. So thank you so much.
Thanks for all the work that you've done. I know you got crews doing everything, but now that we have had some rain, don't forget about our dirt roads and doing some of the machining on them. It's potluck, you can pick out whichever one you want to start with, you know. The other thing is sometime or other, I'd like to sit down and us have a talk and maybe walk Peon Avenue with that sidewalk and talk about it. It's in pretty rough shape. I don't know the way things are structured, that may be a safety money issue as well, because it's my understanding they don't set aside money specifically for sidewalks, so it's either that or try and get it in the 6-year road plan. And
yeah, we can, that's something that could be done with maintenance, since it's not new. It's maintenance of old sidewalk, but it basically needs reconstruction. We would just have to like maybe do an estimate and see if it would fit within our maintenance budget. If it doesn't hurt our maintenance budget too much, we could use maintenance money. If it looks like it's going to impact the maintenance budget too much and be an adverse effect on the maintenance budget, we could use construction money for it. That would be acceptable.
or maybe, you know, there's a problem all the way, but there's some really bad sections. If we could get those corrected within the maintenance, that would be a big help.
Okay.
But maybe sometime, I'll get in touch with you.
Okay, yeah, we'll look at some specific spots.
We'll do a walkthrough and look at it, and maybe you could do some estimating ahead of time or something to see which group it would come out of. If it would fall under maintenance, that'd be great, because I don't have to tell you, our secondary road system, we need all that money we
Absolutely.
can
Yes.
to do it, so. But that's all I had. Just thank you, and be sure and thank all the workers
I
for
will.
what they're doing too.
Yeah. Yeah. When it's not raining, we've had pretty hot days, and so, yeah.
And no, I wasn't complaining about anything this
Yes.
time.
Yeah,
I seen the surprised look on his face. He said, "You didn't complain about anything."
I marked it down.
You marked it down, all right.
Go ahead, Jen. So,
Yeah, just thank you for that pipe replacement on Thunderstruck, seeing that through, that's great. Echoing Jerry, especially on Thunderstruck, there are a lot of people that go in on Thunderstruck, both from 615 and off of Slusher Store Road, and it's really imperative that we try to keep that, because they're
Right.
going down to the river.
Oh, yeah,
or
sure.
on
Fishing
the water,
and whatever,
so,
yeah.
I mean, that's really an important one. Also, County Line Church Road has come and gone when it's really, really rainy. It gets some really bad wash. Again, that's a gravel road. So whatever you could do there. Thomas Farm also, just check both in that section of the district. on the other side of the parkway. Also, thank you for that work being done on the Rush Creek Bridge. I know it's not in our county,
Right.
but so many of us do travel out of the county that way, and it's going quite nicely. I'm amazed
It's
at how
moving along.
quickly
Yeah.
that's going. Did you come out that way?
I didn't come, I'll probably go back that way,
Yeah,
check
it's
it out.
pretty amazing. They've
I
got
wanted to get here
almost, they're
quickly.
gonna be switching to do the other side,
Mhm.
probably next week maybe.
Yeah, and that part will probably go quicker because it takes, there's a bit of a learning curve in there, even though you've got plans and elevations and stuff.
Right.
Just getting, it's very complicated getting a box culvert set just at
Yeah,
the right
those box
elevation.
culverts are pretty darn amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah, all right, so, yeah, we'll see what Mother Nature has in store for the box
yeah,
culvert.
exactly.
Anyway, thanks again to the guys and gals for doing such a great job. You know, I did notice that Smith Creek Road got a really nice treatment, and I mean, I know that that's a cut-through for many folks that live out here in Floyd County as well, but, you know, those are the kind of things that we'd like to see too here in Floyd County, just
Mhm.
kind
Let's just see, where did
of
you get,
mentioning it.
mhm.
I mean, that's a very nicely done
Stonewall got 5 miles of,
paving. All right,
blacktop.
good. All right, same kind?
yeah,
Good, all right, I'll head out that way. Thank you.
yep.
Them box culverts work great.
Oh, amazing.
You know,
It's
that
just
one on
amazing.
Buffalo Mountain Road where it usually backs the water up,
Mhm.
y'all put that one in. It's good now.
Yeah, I can't wait to see this.
It won't solve the overtopping problem, but it may make it maybe half as many times.
Yeah, I mean, I'm waiting to see
Yeah.
it. I mean, I've been pretty amazed by the whole situation.
I know this has been 4 or 5 years ago, or maybe longer, you fixed that above my house.
Mhm.
That has worked great.
It's worked.
Because if it happened this week, my kids probably still wouldn't be getting out.
I'll tell Ricky Nichols and Daryl Hollingsworth that that worked out well.
It really,
Yeah.
it's super great. We had a storm, I guess, about the middle of last week. We got about 2.5 inches of rain in a short period of time. And, boy, I mean, it ruined the roads, you know, Reese Road, Sugar Tree. On Sugar Tree, where they did that clear cut about a
right.
mile up, there's no ditch on that side of the road. It's got filled in over the years.
Mhm.
All that water came off, came out the road. I mean, it just took it all the way down to bedrock, really, in places. And my neighbor's got a mobile home up there he rents, and I've lived in that road all my life. I've never seen it wash. It gutted that driveway. And so now we're gonna have log trucks run that road for a couple of months. So it needs some attention.
Okay. That's on Sugar Tree, you said?
I'm sorry.
That's on Sugar Tree?
Sugar
Yeah.
Tree. Yeah. And they don't be coming from the very end of it, you know, down.
Right.
And well, like I say, all the other roads over around Boat Mill Road, you know, up along Burke's Fork, I mean, it just wiped them roads out. Other than that, you know, it just needs a lot of machine work.
Yeah.
You know, I know
They'll-
y'all covered up,
Yeah,
but,
they'll be catching that up. They didn't give me a list of what they did get to, but I know they've been working on a lot of that.
and your mowers up there, it just depends on who you're talking to. Some's happy and some,
Yeah, yeah.
so, but appreciate you doing them intersections. And also just, again, is in Colinda's district, down Shady Grove, probably 3/4 of a mile, when you pass Meyer Fork Road and start up that hill. All the underbrush is growed out, and it's really cut down the visibility going up through there. Really, I'd like to see that bank cut back a couple of feet.
Yeah, we talked about that. I think that,
Yeah.
I think we can do that with some
Yeah,
safety
because
money.
people that turns in their driveways up through there, you know, it's a gamble if they gonna make it or not, you know. There's almost been some wrecks there, you know. Other than that, I don't have anything. Levi, I skipped you. Do you have anything?
I'll take off to the beach. Don't even let me talk.
Jealousy.
Hey, I was just gonna say thank you for mowing the sides of the road. That's a pretty unique outfit. The backpack blowers.
Yeah, I've never seen anything like that before. But I've shown a lot of people that video that's on the Floyd 411 site.
But they mowed some of them roadsides slicker than someone mows their yard, so they've done a good job on that. I do have, besides the normal stuff, Eames Road, potholes, Goose Creek, level bottom, some of the dirt roads. But I do have one that I think you probably ought to look at, and I would assume it would fall back to VDOT, but after one of the recent storms, right near the Station 3 Fire Department on King Store Road, there's an oak tree that's been pushed up on the bank. And it's got about an 8 to 10 inch diameter limb. If a deer jumps out or you veer over just a tiny bit on the shoulder, that limb that's probably 8 foot long, 10 inch diameter, it's going to come right through your windshield. So they cut it, moved it off the road, cut the branches off of it, but it's laying on the bank with a limb that's going to go right through somebody's windshield as they veer off the road there.
All right, I'll get him to get that.
Yeah, so I don't know if a property owner was going to try to cut up the firewood, but it's been sitting there now for probably 3 weeks or better. So I just see a bad disaster there if we don't get it moved.
What road was that? Oh, an oak tree? On King Store?
It's
Okay.
King's Store right near the fire department.
Okay, near the fire. You said Station 3, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that seems like something needs to probably be looked at pretty quick. But outside of that, that's all I have.
All right, thank you.
Staff have anything? Okay.
All right,
Thank you, David.
thank y'all.
And, all right, the next would be our public comment period. It is the intent that all persons attending the meeting of the board, regardless of handicap and conditions, shall have an opportunity to participate. If any person present requires any special assistance, please let the board know in order that arrangements can be made. On the public comment, it's limited to 4 minutes, one-way conversation. If you have additional questions or comments, you can reduce them to writing, give them to staff or one of the board members. When you come up, state your name and the district you're from. And with that, I'll open the public comment.
Good morning. My name is Mary Ann Jackson. I live in the Locust Grove District on Timberline Road. My farm is directly adjacent to the property recently purchased by Hill Hauler LLC, which is the proposed location of a 200-acre parking lot. A few weeks ago, I visited a farm nearby in Copper Hill and noticed that the farmer was using drip irrigation to water his crops. When I mentioned this, the farmer explained that he has to be very careful about water usage. He pointed out that, like most people in Floyd, he's on a private well, that there's no aquifer in the area, but rather a series of cracks in bedrock that feed these wells. He noted that as a result, the water can be quite young and very vulnerable to drought. So I got to thinking, with all the proposed changes to the land behind me and right next to me, what does this mean for our farm and our well water? So I did a little research, came across the Floyd Source Water Plan from 2010, and sure enough, not only are the wells in the Blue Ridge area very sensitive to drought, they are also, quote, highly susceptible to contamination, end quote. The plan goes on to say that, quote, in the Blue Ridge, the age of the waters tested was very young. In many places, ages younger than 20 years were common. This means that water entering the ground can find its way to drinking water sources in a relatively short amount of time and with minimal natural filtration, end quote. So if the proposed changes occur, does this mean that our livestock, our gardens, and our family members are all at risk from things like tour bus diesel fuel or RV chemical toilet leaks getting into our well and contaminating our water? I hope not. We assume and certainly hope that a study of the impact of this parking lot on both ground and well water is going to be conducted and used to inform any decision-making process. Thank you.
Dan Vest, Locust Grove District. I hear there were some questions regarding a comment I made last meeting where I stated that Floyd County government has failed to focus on working to secure full-time living wage jobs for the county folks, and we're taking a back seat to tourism jobs, such as Floyd Fest, which only employ just a few, but impact many of us here in our county, and especially in Czech if it's going to come there. So how have you failed? Number one, and I got a bunch of them. I know I won't get through it all. I don't believe there's been a major road improvement project in Floyd or leading into Floyd in probably 15 years. And the minuscule 4-lane part of Route 58 in the southwest side of the county doesn't count. Yes, the commuting folks are taking a back seat, as well as the prospective businesses of manufacturing or manufacturing businesses here in the county. When I was on the EDA, we asked to go to the quarterly VDOT meetings where, by the county, and we asked, and we were told no. We don't do that anymore. We don't even have good roads to our industrial park, yet last meeting we were working on developing roads in the industrial park. Seems like you ought to have roads to it first before you develop the ones in it. It's kind of a sales portion thing there. Seems like you have been able to have to get to the park first before you would be worrying about the internal ones. I've been told the quarterly meetings at VTOT and Salem are open to the public. A group of us down in Czech may just take the time to go since you folks don't seem it's a priority for us. Maybe we can call Montgomery County and get the ball rolling regarding improving Route 8 from the county line to Reiner. I've been told many times when prospective businesses drive on the roads to Floyd, they're not impressed. Unfortunately, last night there was another wreck on Route 8 in that section. That's a priority to us. Bullet 2. Where's the other infrastructure to support manufacturing base in Floyd County? Yes, we do have electricity, but many manufacturing processes need more. Montgomery County has natural gas, Carroll has natural gas, Patrick has it, and of course Roanoke does. In fact, the pipeline down Route 58 from Carroll to Patrick County, I believe goes through a small part of Floyd, so nothing's fell apart there, okay, it's okay. A natural gas option at the industrial park would be safe, reliable source for virtually an uninterruptible energy for present and prospective businesses. Now, instead of an underground supply of natural gas for our high school, because we haven't looked forward, we have one of the largest propane tanks in the county next to our vocational building. Doesn't look good, guys. Some time ago, I've been told we lost out on potential business that would have employed 300 folks in the county due to Floyd not having natural gas. This is 15 years ago. Yet, yes, I am pro-gas pipeline, no doubt, but I am against drug pipelines into this county, which I believe Floyd Fest will only make that pipeline bigger. You need to talk to the neighbors that deal with spent syringes and needles on the sides of the roads at the present Floyd Fest site. Incidentally, I had a phone call from one of those neighbors last night. That's all I have. Thank you. Can't go.
My name is David Cartwright, and I do know a couple of you. And the ones that know me know I've lived here since in grade school, all right? Grew up on a dairy farm. And the present property, the McBroom property, so to speak now, is backed up right on my property. And it does appear as though they're going to put their main platform stage right back next to my property, facing my property, which means that the sound of that property, the sound of that stuff that's going on there is going to be blaring right at my house. It's not that far from the back of my house to the back of my property, and it's wooded, but I am trimming a little of that off each year, trying to get me some grazing land in there, okay? So that's getting fewer and fewer trees. There's not going to be any buffer there for that sound. I can hear the coyotes back there howling at the back of the property now. So this is going to be blaring at me, and I'll just tell you, I go to bed 9 o'clock, man, sometimes a little earlier than that. I get up at 3 o'clock in the morning. This is the way it works. You do that for 50 years or 60 years. That's where you're at. I'm retired now. I am at home all the time. So I'm going to have to hear that. I've got all this noise coming from that. It's going to be blaring at me. There's some kind of consideration got to be made to limit that time that's going on. And then also, my property line fence back there, I know from talking from the information from the Patrick County Sheriff's Department, fences are cut at this event yearly. And so this is going to go on. The trash from that's going to come on my place. If I have livestock back there, they're going to get out. It turns into there's a lot of stuff here to consider. Just with me, that's not even counting my neighbors, okay? And maybe not as many of them is exactly against that, but there are some. And I have yet to talk to one of them that is in any way happy about this. And I'll just say this, I didn't even find out about this. And I've heard this has been now in the making for quite some time. But I didn't even find out about this until just a few weeks before it was in the paper. And I'm kind of feeling like you're directly affecting me and the other people around it. There should have been some kind of notification that, hey, we're considering this right here in this area. If it was going in your backyard, I feel like you'd want to know. That's just a common courtesy. But nothing was said about it, didn't know anything about it, and I really feel as though that right there is pretty offensive to me, all right? I wouldn't do anybody I know that way, treat people the way you want to be treated, all right? That's all I'm saying here. On a better note, I'm going to make this comment. I'm impressed that you all opened up your meeting with prayer. That impresses me. I don't see that going on in a lot of places. And you still have a pledge to the flag, and I'm impressed with that as well. So, I'm not all bad, okay? But I'm just saying, we're all going to be affected down there with the traffic, like has been already spoken about, the water, my house has actually been right there where it is. I built that house in '90. My well, I've never run out of water in it. I don't go around just blowing it though either, okay? But that's a concern. They're going to start sinking wells over there. They may be drawing off the water. I may not have as much water. My neighbors may not have as much water. And of course, you all already know about the wetlands issued in the bottom. But there are a lot of factors here that there needs to be some kind of control on this. This thing is there, okay? So pretty much we're stuck with it. We got the shaft on that deal. And I guess that's the end of my time, is what that's all about. All right, well, there's much more I could say. I didn't have a piece of paper. I'm sorry.
Okay, all right, thank you. Joe?
Hi, folks. I'm Joe Klein from the Courthouse District, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you all today. And just want to start by saying how much I appreciate the work that you do for all of us in the county. I know that it's not easy work, and I appreciate that you do that as well as you do. I'm here to share my perspective on the Floyd Fest within our community and the impact that it can have and has had. And I especially want to address the concerns raised by the speaker at your last board meeting regarding possible drug and alcohol problems, and we've heard that again today. I have attended every Floyd Fest, and I volunteered in various capacities throughout the year, so I can share from my direct experience of being on site at the festival. Whereas I don't know if other speakers have attended the festival. What I want to share is from the inside, what I see in the festival, that it's a family friendly festival. I bring my grandkids every year. I brought them since they were toddlers. They love playing in the children's universe. They love getting watermelon and smoothies. They love rocking in the hammocks. But again, I want to address, the concerns about possible drug and alcohol problems. I serve as a mental health and substance abuse counselor in this county for youth and adults for many years. So I appreciate that these concerns are raised. Because I can attest to the fact that we have long had a problem with drugs and alcohol, especially affecting teens in our county. In fact, some of the most severe cases of methamphetamine and opioid addiction that I've worked with have come from the Czech or Copper Hill areas. I know of adolescents who have gained access to these drugs in their neighborhood, who have gone on to struggle throughout their young lives with addiction, jail time, and some of whom have died. But I also know some who are in recovery and are doing quite well, thanks especially in part to the drug court program that you folks helped to fund. So it's a real concern that should get attention by this Board of Supervisors and our citizens. But I would not agree with anyone trying to say Floyd Fest is going to cause or worsen the addiction problems in our county. In fact, I can directly speak to several positive things that the festival does already do to address potential problems. In the very first year, Floyd Fest was asked to add AA and NA meetings to their schedule and provide a space for those meetings. They did so, and they have done so every year of the festival. There are many people in recovery who love live music but can't go anymore because of the risk to their sobriety. But that's not true at Floyd Fest. Floyd Fest organizers were asked to create a teen scene to provide a safe and fun place for teens to hang out during the festival. They provided a 40 by 40 foot tent, staff and volunteers, and even paid for musicians and artists to run workshops all weekend long for the teens. And that has become a fixture at the event ever since. In full disclosure, I've been a coordinator of that teen scene, and very recently I began to receive a small stipend for it. In addition to the teen scene, there is the centrally located children's universe that I spoke about. There are lots of kid and family-friendly activities going on here every day. Again, Floyd Fest really creates a safe and family-friendly atmosphere, and if any of you have not attended, I really urge you to please go and see for yourselves that it is a wonderful event we can all be proud of. Now, I don't live as an adjacent neighbor, so I'm really sensitive to what I'm hearing the folks saying, concern about the traffic and other things in the neighborhood, noise. Floyd Fest will rock Czech, it won't wreck Czech. Thank you.
That's everyone that had signed up. Is there anyone else? I will give you that courtesy. So, go ahead. Just state your name and district.
Jan Cartwright. I am in Levi Cox's district. I have, all four of my children went to Czech Elementary School, and they're now grown, and they're still my children, of course, and they go to Floyd Fest. 3 of the 4 do. So they think that we're crazy, but that's okay. I am concerned with the noise ordinance being 2 a.m. Do y'all want me to call y'all up at 2 a.m. when they're blaring their music and we're trying to sleep? Luckily, my husband and I are both retired now, but that was not always the case, and there are people around us who are not retired, who are going to be impacted by this noise. The litter, the hypodermic needles that Chateau Marcet had to clean up when they allowed Floyd Fest to park in their parking lot. And I'm concerned also inebriated people walking up and down 221. You'll say that you'll try, and I'm sure you will, try to keep that in control. But I'm going to have my grandchildren. I don't want somebody high as a kite on my property. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Well, shoot, I will. I don't really need this thing. I'm pretty loud. Hello, Levi's. This is your neighbor, Tom. Yeah, I mean, I lived
Go ahead
in...
and state your full name.
Oh, my name is Thomas Daly.
Yeah, we need it for record.
Oh, understood, sir, understood. And yes, I've been involved in just what he said, the communication of such a venue. Why were we not, a long time ago, our public brought into this decision? But it seems like we weren't. We were separated from that. That, to me, that's a failure. And that's an egregious failure. Another thing is, right now, when it comes to us as a community, our safety. Because right now, I'm sure with gas prices, for which we're incurring, getting for sheriffs, emergency units, garbage, you know you probably have already exceeded your budget. And guess what? Oil's not going down. It's only going to go up. So there's another. How are you going to maintain that cost to make sure our roads are safe? We're going to be on those same roads when people who potentially drive out of Floyd Fest might not be in the best condition. It could potentially lead to a disastrous accident, which we don't want. So I think you got to be conscientious of some of these failures that have occurred. Because following a model that was used in Iowa when it came to the wind turbine industry, what Wake County did in Iowa, because their board of supervisors did not meet to protect their safety, they filed suit against them. I hope we don't have to do that with you folks. I really don't. But that is on the table, in my opinion. Thank you.
Anyone else? With that, I'll close the public comment period. So moving on to old business, it looks like we got a closed session.
Yes, sir. You have actually two closed sessions back to back, so if you'd like, I'd go ahead and read that for motion.
If you would.
The first one is related to public safety in general and the radio system in particular. And so it would be closed session under 2.2-3711A1, discussion or consideration of the investment of public funds where competition or bargaining is involved, where if made public initially, the financial interest of the governmental unit would be adversely affected. So that's the first item. And then the second item is related to facility requirements, and in particular leases, and I guess leases in space might be most appropriate. In the same section, 2.2-3711A1, discussion or consideration of the investment of public funds where competition or bargaining is involved, where if made public initially, the financial interest of the governmental unit would be adversely affected.
Take a motion to go into closed session.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second that.
Motion second, call to roll.
All right, on the motion to go into closed session on the two items noted, specifically for radio system and leases under 2.2-3711A1, Ms. Cookenbook,
Yes.
Ms. Bechtold,
Yes.
Mr. Cox,
Yes.
thank you, Mr. Booth,
Yes.
and Mr. Terman.
Yes.
All right, we're moving to closed session. Thank you.
Motion come out of closed session.
So,
Go ahead.
well, she
Nope.
started.
No, you go first.
I so moved.
I'll second.
Motion second, call roll.
All right. On the motion to come out of closed session, Mr. Booth,
Yes.
Ms. Bechtel,
Yes.
Ms. Cookenbook,
Yes?
and Mr. Levi, Mr. Cox?
Yes, I was in a secure location as well.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. Turman. Mr.,
And
yes?
he was in a secure location.
He
so-
was in a secure location.
Yes.
And I
Alright.
take a motion that we only discuss those things we went into closed session to discuss.
So moved?
Second?
Call
All
roll.
right, on the motion to certify that we only discuss the items in closed session that we were supposed to discuss in closed session under 2.2-3711A1, Ms. Cookenbook,
Yes?
Mr. Booth,
Yes.
Ms. Bechtel,
Yes.
Mr. Cox,
Yes.
and Mr. Turman.
Yes,
All right, so you are out in certified related closed session.
okay, let's take a 5-minute break, because we still got a lot to cover. in open session.
Levi on.
iPad Levi, there you are.
Very
I'm getting more jealous every day.
Right?
Your no location's more.
Remember, it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Oh, it's been about
All right. Mr. Chair, I think that you are at 9C,
C, yes, ma'am.
Financial and Budget, FY '23 Resolution of Appropriation. And that is an action item.
And that is in our packet.
No,
Yes.
we're gonna have to reference back to,
What number? 9 what? 9D? No, 9C.
9C.
do you remember?
Say what?
Oh, onward,
Onward.
yeah.
Onward.
And it was 5.
45.
I was looking for it on here. It's-
I think
There's
it,
no page numbers, it's 15476.
Onward NRV 1.
So, Mr. Chair, would you like us to give a little explanation about a couple of things related to that?
Yeah, if you would. So-
Okay.
563, line 563, sorry.
So,
just remembered you wanted to talk about that, so we
Yeah.
didn't want it to get lost.
So, as you all know, this is more kind of for the public and folks listening in, you know, you all have already approved the budget for FY '23. But that is kind of a high-level guide. And then legally, where the money actually moves is through this next document, through your resolution of appropriation. It's been drafted for an annual appropriation, which I understand is how you all have done that traditionally. I was reminded by our consul that some folks, other counties don't do an entire year at a time, because it allows you the opportunity to do a reversion. Say if you did a 6-month and then something terrible happened to our economy, you would have the option of saying, you know, your lump sum for the next 6 months is going to be 5% less or something. So wanted to bring that to your attention, but my understanding is that is something that you have never done or seldom done before, and that the practice has been, even though the funds have been appropriated, we don't, of course, transfer all of the money. We won't rush out today based on this and move all of the money over because, of course, we don't have all the money right now. We don't have $43 million sitting in the bank. That's why people come and pay taxes. So in any case, that's a little bit of general background. In addition to that, we did receive additional information from the comp board since your last meeting. And essentially, the comp board took the budget document and put out, as a state agency is supposed to do, more detail on how they're interpreting that document. And so that had some impact on a couple of the offices, potentially. But the numbers that are before you reflect what is approved in your budget. But just to let you know, there were some other changes related to the clerk of court and to the sheriff's office. But again, what's in front of you reflects what you approved and doesn't have any changes because of those things. But that's a little bit of background for
Basically,
everybody.
If I can,
basically what we've done in the past, we approve it in this format. That helps with that monthly report we get. And in office, they disperse it quarterly.
Right.
Now, some of the smaller ones, say like the Fairview Church or some of those, whenever they put in for 2,500, then usually it's paid or whatever.
Right.
The big stuff is all dispersed quarterly.
Yes. We won't be able to give the school a check for all of it.
No, they won't get a check all at one time.
No. So, but that's just a little bit of background for folks that haven't done this
And
with
if
us
we
before.
change the appropriation amount, then we have the option, we can put it in contingency or budget stabilization.
You can always do that, and you can always also amend your budget. You can, if you would do more than a 1% change, then you have to do a public hearing.
Right.
And that also includes if you make any major tax changes, you also need to do a
What I'm
public
getting
hearing.
at, we don't change the overall appropriation. We could, like, if we reduce, say we reduce the Board of Supervisors by $1,000 on the appropriation, that can be put in one of those funds.
Right.
Then if we decide later to put it back, then it'll be listed as an additional appropriation for the auditors and the finances, right?
Yes, you can do it that way. And the other thing I will note is not reflected in this is, of course, we have not closed out the books for FY '22. And other than the schools have not yet entertained any request for carry forward funds.
Right.
And I know that's something you all have discussed before.
Yep.
But just, again, wanting to make you aware that that is not all captured in there either. That would be another step in the process.
Yeah, that usually comes in August, right? And that's traditionally when we get that, in August. August day meeting usually.
So part of this is me informing people, and part is double checking
Yeah.
with you that have been
Yeah, yeah,
around
yeah.
that my assumptions and understanding is correct.
That
So
is
thank
true.
you all with that.
The one we were talking about withholding for right now, the 2,000, what was that dollar amount?
Lease space.
Least,
22,800.
hmm?
22,800.
22,800.
Line 122.
Not to interrupt, but no sound is coming through when we're not speaking into the mics. So Levi can't hear us if we're not speaking loud.
Can you hear me now?
Guess no.
I think he's sleeping.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
Would it be prudent in this financial situation to do a 6-month appropriations without causing too much distress for everybody? That way we can make changes if necessary.
Well, we can make changes. My only concern is, I rely on that monthly report. And if we do anything short of doing it like we're doing it, then that report doesn't get done. I mean, I'll go along with
But
whatever
I
the
mean,
majority
we can
wants to
change it
do.
Yeah, we
without
can
doing it
change.
6 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can make those changes anytime.
All right.
Yeah.
We can withhold anytime.
I mean,
We
I
just
understand
can't
what
give
you're
more.
saying,
Right.
but for me, I rely on that monthly report. That gives me the most realistic picture of what's
Okay.
going on.
Well, and that is one of the limitations of the Bright system, is that when you make that change, you can only list what's appropriated, not what the total budgeted amount is.
Right.
So it matches against there, so
Well,
some
when we
days
get
you
to board
obviously.
time, I'm gonna question about where we're at on that, just so you
That's no
know.
problem.
Yeah.
That is no problem. And fortunately here, if I might, everyone seems to work together really well. I think the reason that Mr. Durbin wanted me to make sure you all were aware of that distinction is, as you can imagine, in some other jurisdictions, once you appropriated the funds and then came back later and said we really need it back, in some areas, they might just tell you no. So, but that's not the history here.
We got our budget so tight we don't have much wiggle room,
Yeah.
but I know we're gonna have to,
Wiggle.
you know, tweak it here and there a little bit, you know, but we're not as bad off as some of the other counties that, where they gotta make
Don't say
major
that out
changes.
loud.
And that's where the General Assembly and
on wood.
everybody puts us in a bind.
Right.
We're waiting until midnight the
Yeah.
night before to approve our budget. It, you know, we really need to get on our delegates to make him.
Yeah.
And I'm still worried with what happens in September when the General Assembly comes back on the governor's latest.
Right.
It really bothers me that our General Assembly's waiting until September
Yeah,
to do that.
yeah, yeah. And that's just a political
Oh,
nonsense, you know. Yeah.
So doing,
All right, well, we need to, do you want to discuss that one?
yeah, so with the, I was gonna wait till board time, but I can say part of it now. I was at the Onward NRV, public input session yesterday, and they are a very good group. I would like to just make sure that they are county-focused, not town-centric, and be very aware of that in our future funding for them, because we do have other communities rather than the town of Floyd in our county. So just keeping that on my very focused radar.
Yeah, I was wanting to come to that, but I got tied up on something else. So I didn't get there.
Are you saying leave that for now?
Leave it for now, yeah,
Okay.
leave it for now with the,
We'll
them
keep an
knowing
eye
that
on
the
it.
hatchet is
Yeah, we'll keep
hanging
an
out
eye on
there.
it, okay. So,
I'll let them, I'll give them a chance.
So we can make a motion to approve this minus the 22,800, or?
Or if you want to move that to a different line.
That's what I'm
so the
saying,
total
move it
would
to
be-
contingency and then,
I don't know if you want to move it to contingency, or, we will actually have to start paying. If you want to move it to the, what is it, to the county administration line, so then,
or
since
general
all the.
properties, or where do you move it?
Well, in this document, we go under, I believe, just the county administration one, because that's where all generally, the building lease kind of stuff comes out.
Okay.
So it's not getting rid of it, it's just moving.
Okay, well, I didn't know whether
'Cause,
we
yeah.
need to put it in contingency or move it to another spot, so that's why I wanted
Yes.
to make sure.
Either that, or we'd have to come back next month and have you take it out of contingency so we
And
can
put
pay
it
the
over,
bill.
no,
It's up to you, though, whatever you like.
This- We still got a paper trail. Yeah.
well then, if you're ready, I
I'm
would
ready.
make a motion that we approve the appropriations with the amendment of moving that 22,800 into the county administrator's part of the budget.
Of course, you can use that to tweak everything.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion second. Any other discussion? Levi, you okay?
Yes.
Okay. Call the roll.
All right. On the motion to approve the FY '23 resolution of appropriation as amended, Mr. Booth,
Yes.
Ms. Bechtold,
Yes.
Ms. Cookenbook,
Yes.
Mr. Cox,
Yes.
and Mr. Terman.
Yes.
All right. Thank you for that, and noted to Onward as a side note. I'll call Katie. Thank you.
I tried to be clear yesterday. but
You were?
I think I fell on deaf ears for some of the people.
I think we need to, just for my part, I'd like a little, I'm sorry, for my part, I'd like a little history on, just exactly what they've looked at outside of that one little group.
Sure. And I can address that somewhere when we get to my comments, because we had one for the board members, similar to the morning, so I can help. with
Sort of like
that.
the rail. I want us to get some.
You know it.
Bang for the buck.
There you go. If you're gonna use my money, I want to see some return on it, so.
Fair enough. All right, Mr. Chair, I think you're to D9, the FY '22 school appropriation. And this is structured in a manner that I believe Ms. Ryan asked them to do in the past. And so that's what we're doing. And as I mentioned, this is carry forward of grant funds. So A and B are tied together.
Now, this is the
This is a
federal funds
revised,
for the school lunch.
is what I
Okay,
got.
okay, sorry.
Revenue and
Sorry about that.
expenditure.
Right.
Okay,
This
they're
is for the
different order.
school lunch.
Ah, they're a different order when I'm looking
Right.
for.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first one, I apologize,
Program, yes.
is,
Thank goodness.
yes, request the following revised revenue appropriation be made to the 21-22 school budget of $393,264 of additional federal funds. $375,505.83 was received from the school nutrition program. Funds were reimbursed at the higher summer food service program rate of $17,758.17 was received from Title IV and are earmarked for programs and activities that improve students' academic achievement. That is an action item. My apologies for the lack of clarity.
I will make that motion and feel very good about making the motion because this was a very important program that I am glad to see is back in for lunches for our students. All students, as I understand.
I'll second.
Motion second. No other discussion, call the roll.
All right, and on the action for requesting the following revised revenue appropriation be made to the 2021-22 school budget of $393,264 of additional federal funds, $375,505.83 was received from the school nutrition program. Funds were reimbursed at the higher summer food service program rate, $17,758.17 was received from Title IV and are earmarked for programs and activities that improve students' academic achievement. Ms. Cookenbook?
Yes.
Mr. Booth?
Yes.
Ms. Bechtold?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
All right, and Mr. Terman?
Yes.
All right, that is
And
approved.
that's important now, especially the way the economy is getting. Because, a lot of kids depended on that, to get some food. So, and the way the economy is getting, it's going to get even worse for parents trying to feed their children, so it's not money wasted.
If I might, Mr. Chair, so A was the recognizing the revenue, and then B is the appropriation of the same funds.
No, there's more.
No, it's the same amount of $393.
Yeah, but they've talked about it differently in that. If you look at B, there's a lot more going to different places. We've got transportation, administration,
Still expenditure.
Yes,
And
but it
operation.
is expenditure of the same funds, but potentially in a slightly different way. So one was taking the money in, and that's what you've approved from the federal funds. Now this is the disbursement of those funds
Within their budget.
within their
Got
budget,
it.
yes.
So we gave it to them, now we're taking it back.
Well,
No, they're getting it.
Yeah.
No, they're getting it.
Yeah.
So basically, what they've stated is they're moving $215,512.52 from their operational funds, from their instructional category, and now they're putting it into administration, transportation, and operations and maintenance. Just to be transparent.
And of course, you have the particular documents associated with this in your electronic packet.
Right.
And slightly more detail, not a lot, but a little bit more.
Yeah. I guess I just have a, I mean, I know that things get, we can move around stuff. I get all that. It just seems that if we're, and I mean in the big scheme of things, $215,512.52 from their instructional category is really just a little bit, but I don't know. I just think that if it was in instructional, it would have been nice to have been used in instructional. I don't know. I know that these times have been difficult for schools, and I get that. And I know that our fuel costs obviously have gone up. I think it's very well worth putting a psychologist in, and school nurse overtime is certainly well worth the pandemic costs. And I know that these are costs that can't be sort of predicted. But I guess if they didn't use it instructionally, they certainly did have other costs, so.
Well, I think this is what he was talking about when he was referencing taking care of some of these positions in-house
Right.
versus just asking for total new money, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
This is his way of absorbing a lot of that stuff.
Yep,
Actually, it's saving us money.
it is.
For now.
Yeah, for now. So, I'm ready for a motion.
I'll move that we approve the revised expenditure appropriations.
I'll second.
Motion second, here we go.
Okay, no other discussion on the motion to move forward with the expenditure, revised expenditure appropriation be made to the 21-22 school budget, $393,264 of federal school nutrition program, $197,754.35 net reduction in expenditures, $75,492.14 operational funds were used for unbudgeted additional school psychologist salary and benefits, and a portion of the school nurses' overtime pay for additional time worked during the peak of the pandemic. $51,644.44 of county operational funds were used to offset fuel cost, and $88,375.94 of county operational funds were used to offset maintenance cost, repairs, and replacements. Mr. Booth?
Yes.
Ms. Cookenbook?
Yes.
Ms. Bechtold?
No.
No? Okay. Mr. Cox?
Yes.
All right. And Mr. Terman?
Yes.
All right, by a vote of 4-1, that has been approved.
I don't like that My opposition is they hired a school psychologist that was an unbudgeted position, so they're hiring for unbudgeted positions.
All right. Mr. Chair, then the next item would be C and D, which is what thought I was talking about at first. Apologies. So this is their carry forward request. So C revises the revenue appropriation and made to the 22-23 school budget year of $116,411.67 from the FY22 school board operational budget, carried over into the FY23 operational budget. These are funds from the FY21 and FY22 Advancing Computer Science Education State Grant. And just for then your information when we get there, D is allowing expenditure. So, but we're on C, recognizing the revenue.
I'll make a motion to accept.
I will,
I'll say.
go ahead, Levi.
I'll say.
Go ahead.
Yeah, again, I find it amazing that grants that were given in 21 and 22 can be, moved over to 23. I think that's very generous of grants. I mean, this is for advanced computing. I get that, and I know that, again, things have been just so fluid and different in these last couple of years. But I hope this gets used this year and not carried over again. It's yeah, I know, but still.
I think it will with the, once construction's over and
Right.
everything. I think
That's where this is going? Good.
I can't.
Yeah, well, yeah. Anyway, those were my thoughts.
Call roll.
All right, on C, the Floyd County School Board request to revise revenue appropriation made to the FY 22-23 school budget year of $116,411.67 from the FY 22 school board operational budget carried over into the FY 23 operational budget. These are funds from the FY 21 and FY 22 Advancing Computer Science Education State Grant. Ms. Bechtold?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Ms. Cookenbook?
Yes.
Mr. Booth?
Yes.
And Mr. Terman?
Yes.
All right, that is approved. Ms. Chair, your next item is D, which is the expenditure of those funds, those same funds discussed in C.
I'll make a motion, we approve the expenditures.
I'll second.
Call roll.
All right, seeing no more discussion. On the motion for the Floyd County School request to revise expenditure appropriation be made to the 22-23 school budget year of $116,411.67 from the FY 22 school board operational budget be carried over into the FY 23 operational budget. These funds are from the FY 21 and 22 Advancing Computer Science Education State Grant. Mr. Booth?
Yes.
Ms. Bechtold?
Yes.
Ms. Cookenbook?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
And Mr. Terman?
Yes.
All right, that is approved. So I think we are through all of your old business.
So we're moving on to new business.
New business, and let me go grab,
He's done snuck in on you.
You're right there.
You again?
So this is to talk about the Homeland Security Grant and how foresightful it turns out Mr. Sowers was to ask for this money before the pandemic, and how we've been able to utilize it. So thank you, Kevin.
All right, thank you. After our cyber attack, we applied for Homeland Security funding, mainly because we had plenty of proof we needed it. We run into a roadblock when COVID first come out. We met a national priority, which meant they would hold the money for some odd reason instead of, because it was a federal priority, not a local. If it had been local, we could have went ahead and spent it. But it did give us time to acquire some great assistance from my work colleague Chris here. He's quite the man. But he looked at our system and found vulnerabilities and addressed them. We had $150,000 and no match. It's all straight up money. I'm not going into, who the companies are. I'm just going to tell you the function, not the product. Mailwell protection was $26,608. That was for 2 years. After 2 years, we'll have to start paying support. Firewall network at $27,300. That's good for 3 years. Network upgrading, it's $37,908.
an efficient backup server was $25,995. That's for 5 years. PBX phone system with SIP trunk. That's $22,624 and estimate maybe 10-year lifespan on it. And part of Chris's salary was also involved with this, so we spent all $150,000 of it. So it was successful, but you know, I encourage you guys to think. I'm sure you already have. We need to kind of get focused on a software and hardware replacement schedule. And Chris I think he's going to be working on that as far as getting some numbers, but you know, that stuff's going to come up pretty quick. $150,000 doesn't really, I mean, it got us good, but 5 years, most definitely, we're going to have to revisit this. So. Questions from the audience?
He can be a one-man equipment committee. You know?
Yes,
He
yes.
can just keep right on looking for his stuff.
Yeah.
We don't want to get slammed again.
No, I think if it's done right and staggered out, it won't be as hard a burden on the county, kind of like what the equipment committee
Yeah.
does with the,
We got a major wake-up call that time.
yeah.
Just lucky we came out as good as we did. So.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Ask any questions?
Wonderful.
Thank you for what you do.
Yeah,
Hey, no
good
problem.
work.
Thank Chris, he's the man that, I just got the money, he's the man that's the brains behind the project. All right.
Well, remember that I'm the man with the money.
I heard that.
Okay, maybe I helped get it, I put, you know.
A whole lot of yet going on.
Yeah, got me stuttering. All right. Thank you guys and have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kev.
And again, just thank you all for the foresight of doing that grant years ago, because that has been the whole reason that, you know, the amount of money that generated that we had to spend because of the IT is almost a full set of real estate tax.
Yep.
So that was really good.
Yep.
Good Lord
Good
works in
thinking.
mysterious ways.
That's right. That's right. Yep. So, Mr. Chair, I think we're to 10B, naming a shared drive. We should make them for this, I guess. The Department of Emergency Management requests naming the shared drive where 3 or more structures will be addressed. The tax max number for the property is number 17-18B. The shared drive is off Laurel Creek Road Northeast, and the request is to name the shared drive Deer Parkway. My understanding is all the hoops have been gone through, I's dotted, T's crossed. Everybody is in favor of that. We're aware of no opposition.
The only thing, I'm all for it, don't get me wrong. So, but we getting so many roads, it's got deer in it. Yeah, we got Deer Valley, we got, you know, and when it comes down to E911 dispatch, you know, yeah, I'm afraid they don't start getting them mixed up. It's easy to do, you know. But anyway, go ahead. And it's your district. So.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, under the old number system, it was easy to get some road numbers mixed up.
It is,
so.
it is, yeah.
This is true. Yeah, I would make a motion to approve this request, and as I read through the documents, it was a request generated by our offices to have this done, and it, you know, I get it. And I guess the question, maybe we needed Kevin back in here. If they're buildings and not, I guess what I'm asking is, even if it's not a residence, if it's something that's being used that requires emergency management, we need people to label the roads so that it's easier to be found. Okay. So I would make a motion to approve this request.
I'll second.
second.
Well, let Levi take it.
Okay, all right. All right. Motion, ready?
Ready?
All right, on the motion to name a shared drive, as requested by the Department of Emergency Management, to name the shared drive off Laurel Creek Road Northeast and name it Deer Park Way. Ms. Cookenbook,
Yes.
Mr. Cox,
Yes.
Ms. Bechtold,
Yes.
Mr. Booth,
Yes.
and Mr. Turner.
Yes.
All right, that is approved. Thank you. The next item, Ms. Chair, is the County Administration Building Deck Replacement. For those of you that haven't seen our lovely artwork out back, the building inspector has not only taped it off, but he's actually put up some boards because folks were still trying to use it. I have to admit, my dogs run up and down there once or twice still, but he doesn't weigh that much. But we decided, I know there's been discussion with this board for some time about replacing that. However, when one of the staff members stepped on one of the boards and it just popped up and flew up, I think that was the final item for the building inspector.
Final straw.
Final straw. Kind of the ballpark estimate on this is probably around $5,000, give or take. So wanted to make sure that you all were good with us moving forward with trying to find somebody to get that work done.
I'd say aluminum one would probably be 3 times that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit what Mark and I had talked about is maybe another wood one, but that instead of the slats, we might have the fencing, like the farm fencing or something like that in the sides. That would meet code, but wouldn't be quite as pricey as the amount of wood. And
So-
look a little more updated.
Since we talked about it last, I've decided, you made a suggestion and I agree with it. Instead of just having these steps straight down, even if we
Go to a landing.
even if we lose a parking space, have the steps, then come down to a landing, then another set of steps.
Yeah.
Have another landing somewhere halfway, and I know that's gonna add to the cost, but I think from a safety factor, that's.
Yeah. No, some dudes need someplace to catch their breath.
Yeah.
So,
But you
Yeah.
have the top deck, then you'll have steps down to another landing. It doesn't have to be quite as big as the deck up on top, but something, and then another set of steps down.
yeah. It is hard on some people, to, in fact, it gets steep sometimes. And you
Yeah, it
also
does.
get soot with that moss on there too.
Yeah.
And if you didn't want to lose the parking space,
Turn it.
you could have the steps go off this way
Right.
versus straight
Yeah.
down,
Yeah.
One thing we'd have to do is move the handicap spot over one.
One
Well,
more.
Yeah, so.
yeah,
Yeah. Tell Jacob to get first.
or take everything that away one.
Or Jacob.
Yeah, you got the generator right there. I guess it's consensus.
Yeah, I guess you gotta leave it going the same direction to get that
Yeah, the
generator in
generator.
and
Yeah.
out, so. But,
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't mean to jump in
No,
front
no,
of
no,
you. You
no.
brought that up, and I've been thinking about it, and I thought maybe that might, I agree with that myself.
Well, yeah, as long as it would be, if you all would authorize us to start moving forward for under $10,000, because
Yes.
the procurement rules change at $10,000, so it's a little easier. We don't have to go out to bid, and same level
I
bid.
I can live with that.
Well, one good thing, lumber's coming down a little bit now.
Yes, it is.
You shaking your head, Levi?
Yep,
If you need a motion, I'll make that motion.
okay,
I'll second it if a motion is needed.
all right. Well, let's go ahead and just be safe, if you all
There
don't
you
mind.
go, just cover our bases.
That's right.
Good.
All right, so on the motion to authorize staff to move forward with replacing the deck at the back of the building, to expend up to but not including $10,000 and add a landing to the current design. Mr. Booth?
Yes.
Ms. Cookenbook?
Yes.
Ms. Bechtold?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. Turner?
Yes.
All right, thank you. We'll all appreciate that very much.
It's still cheaper than somebody breaking an egg or busting their head or something. So,
Yeah, exactly. Well, on the continuing stream of good fertility news, the HVAC equipment at the library is pretty much done for, and it's been out. So, under emergency provisions for that part, I went ahead and had Mark go ahead and reach out to some folks for quotes on that. And we are moving forward, but wanted to make you aware of that, and then also let you know, in addition to that, there is actually water damage at the library, which includes not only the ceiling, but some of the electronic equipment, particularly as it relates to the Wi-Fi and some other things. So we will probably go ahead and file an insurance claim, but wanted to make you aware and didn't know if there's anything in those circumstances you feel like we need to have action on. I don't know if we do, but I wanted to make sure you were aware and okay with this. But
So right now, are they operating without air conditioning?
Mhm.
You know, we need to get that.
Yeah, so we
Fixed.
got a couple of quotes. Mark reached out to the folks in the county and took the best quote. We normally try to get train equipment, just so all of our stuff is uniform, but that was another month or so in addition. So we've gone ahead and ordered kind of the next best thing, which should be here pretty shortly, because it was 2-week turnaround as opposed to 6 weeks for training. So we went ahead and did that, because it's pretty hot to be without air.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, yesterday was nice, but
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
tomorrow and today, maybe not.
where was you at yesterday?
And they can't.
I mean, it was
just-
56 degrees in the
They
morning.
can't just simply open the doors and
No.
windows down there with the moisture in the air and everything else, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the books mailed to you and everything.
Yeah, they've been in a sweat.
Yeah.
Do we need to take action? You've got action item listed.
Well, I just wanted to make sure you all were okay, and if
In
you need to take a
consensus.
vote on those expenditures, that's fine. If not, we'll just move forward, but,
I'm okay with you moving forward.
Yeah.
and-
Yeah, it's definitely maintenance.
okay, thank
Oh,
you.
yes.
News.
All right. Well, your next item is board time. And then you get meeting correspondence and you're done.
Can I go, Bird?
Yeah, because nobody else got anything.
I just wondered, I alluded to it earlier, where are we at on our computer system and bright change and all that?
So that gets me
I don't see
to my
smiles.
report.
Huh?
I don't see smiles.
I didn't see a smile either, so.
No, right now so the hang up on all that is getting our second tranche of the ARPA money
Yeah.
from the feds. Because as you know, you've got a little bit of funds left from the first tranche, but certainly not to buy the new system. We've alerted them that, we'd like to move forward as soon as we have this available. Unfortunately, recently, the federal government back in February moved from using DUNS numbers to a unique entity identifier. And in that process,
Oh, no.
it does appear that some of the wires at Treasury got crossed. And so there are 3 different accounts that are associated with the county that I've been working through Treasury to try to get disentangled.
I know why she didn't smile.
To the point, this is my release to our U.S. Senator's office to get them to help us. And so far, they have been very helpful. All of a sudden, I got an email last night from Treasury at 9:45 saying, we're happy to look into this. So appreciate Laura Blevins.
sitting somewhere?
Yeah.
Well, it's sitting at the Fed still. I put in the request, I did all the reporting for the first tranche and have requested the second one. And so in their process of starting to honor our request is where we've come up with this challenge. So I'm hopeful here in the next week or so we'll get that straightened out.
So this is just a legacy issue.
Yeah,
I mean, a legacy of accounts that,
yeah, it's not really clear. For a while, they were saying that we had a different taxpayer identification number than we do. So yesterday, I sent them documentation of the taxes we have been paying to said taxpayer identification number to Treasury. going back the last 5 years, which is what's readily accessible in the office. And so that's why I got a response at 9:45 last night. Like,
And has everybody else gotten their money?
no.
Oh, okay.
No, there has been numerous jurisdictions, even in this region, have experienced some challenges, and for the most part, everybody has gone the route of getting their congressional senatorial delegation involved, and that seems to really be.
Light a fire, as it were.
Yes. So as soon as, so
In
that's
July.
what it is. So as soon as we can get that broken loose, then we'll be coming to you with a request for the ability to expend funds for that.
That was your boyfriend?
That was mine.
Microphone off, you're done.
All right.
I'd just like to say thank you, everybody, for working so well together, that, you know, a steep learning curve and lots of questions, and I appreciate everybody's support. And as we enter these challenging times ahead of us, that we do live in a very beautiful county with wonderful people who we work together, we come together as a community when times are needed, and our personal property rights are paramount to our individual freedoms and respect of each other and everybody's dreams. Thank you.
You know, and I probably don't want to open a can of worms of this, but I just wish that some that comes to our public comment would take time to read our past minutes, and they would probably find out these roads over here, I've been arguing, Linda's been arguing, and state delegates been arguing for years trying to get that road fixed. You know,
Route 8.
it's not, we're sitting up here idle. We've worked, and we're still working, trying to get it from the county line, at least to Camp Currybrook fixed.
Yeah,
you
which
know.
is where that accident was yesterday.
And just because we sit here and don't say nothing doesn't mean that we don't have the same feelings that they got. But our hands are tied, and they need to start paying more attention, getting their facts straight, and it would save a lot of animosity between us and them, you know, which, you know, I hear it, I'm used to it. I've dealt with the public for 40 years, you know. So, but, and to Calenda's point, that is one good thing. I've been on this board for 11 years. I'm still learning.
Yeah.
I've told Dr. Millsap, I said, every time I think I got a grasp of something, they change it. You know, and see the light at the end of the tunnel, and they move the tunnel. You know, so, and Jerry can probably tell you the same thing, because he's been on here a lot longer than I have.
And to your point, Mr. Chairman, you know, hands are tied in terms of the fact that that section of road is in another county. And so, as much as we want something to be done, we are, you know, relying on our fellow supervisors in that county who also see the need, because, you know, these accidents are happening in their county.
And it's our citizens that's getting killed.
Exactly. And some of theirs. I mean, it, you know, it hasn't, yeah,
We
I know.
lost 3 in 1 year.
Right,
out there,
right.
so.
So, yeah, we know how important, and I agree. I mean, and it's not going to be a cheap fix. I've said that all along. I mean, they're going to have to, you know, work through the bottom end of Pilot Mountain, but it's something that needs to happen, and, yeah,
Well,
I agree.
The supervisors on this end have always been supportive of trying to get that road fixed.
Absolutely.
Back to Politis and before him and the current one.
Yeah,
And
Todd
and-
King, yeah.
Yeah. And it's not a matter of us not trying through the years, going all the way back to,
Well,
well, actually supervisors before I came on.
when they were,
Back when Madison got our Route 8 straightened out, they immediately was pushing on that end.
Right.
Madison was too, but it
didn't happen
Didn't
because of,
happen.
it's not
It's
any,
different mindset.
yeah,
Even if they started today
Oh, it'd
to
be,
change that. It would take them 10 years
At least.
before they would ever.
Indeed.
It would take 5 years before they ever got started with a dozer over there.
and I just, for me personally, like to say this. I was part of a group that put a halt to the gas line through the center of this county. And I'm not gonna apologize for it, because I was following my constituents'
Yeah.
feelings at the time. And I haven't heard anything from my constituents here in the courthouse district to overwhelmingly change that opinion.
Right.
And
Well, if
I
I
hear
remember-
a lot of stuff referenced about Carroll County. Now, they had a big industry there that was willing to help them set up. Getting the line here is not the problem. It's that disbursement station that has to be put in, and that business helped Carroll County build that. Then, in recent past years, Carroll County has looked at expanding that operation, but they can't afford it.
Yeah.
And the only way they could afford it was if they run lines down the road and anyone along that line had to pay an availability fee. Well, they floated that idea, and that went out the window fast.
I remember
So-
when that came up about Route 8, I mean, people went crazy.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't want it.
And,
So, yeah.
and I think this board during construction, I know Linda, you weren't here, and Levi wasn't here, but Linda and I and Joe were, the situation with the tank at the high school was discussed more than once.
Absolutely.
And that was not our decision to make.
Actually, Linda fought it pretty hard till
Well,
they came in here and showed us the plans that how it was a safety thing.
right,
It's
and
one
up
of the safest
until
ones
that
in the
point,
state.
I'd been, I wanted safety walls, but ultimately, that was the school board's final choice, and we have a lot of input, and we give our feelings, but in the end, the biggest thing we do with the school system, they ask us for money, and we try and see what we can afford to give them. Past that, when it gets into their day-to-day operations or their construction, as y'all been through, and I've been through it many times, we can make suggestions, but ultimately, the end result is their decision.
Yeah.
And if there's a problem with something that was decided there, it needs to be taken over on the hill, not here.
I got 4 granddaughters coming through these schools. I want them safe.
Right.
And I am not gonna let them do anything I think would jeopardize their safety, or any other kid, as far as that's concerned.
But again, like Jerry said, all we can do is give them our thoughts and
Well, actually,
ideas and,
they listened to us.
yeah, they did.
Oh, they have.
Yeah.
I don't mean anything bad.
Yeah.
I've been lucky through the years and had a good relationship with the school board, and I don't mean anything
Right.
derogatory. It's just getting back to the citizens. There's certain things that they decide that they need to answer for. They're elected just like we
Yeah,
are.
that's what I was gonna say. They're elected officials, so,
And through the years, I've had fellow board members that wanted to get into it more, and I've said it then, and I'll say it to anybody future hunting here. If you want to run the schools, run for the school board.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
ultimately, because that's not our job.
Not our lane.
no,
That changed in '94 when we voted to go to elected school board.
Not my circus, not my monkey. So,
And I'll get off
All right,
my
we
soapbox, I apologize, but
More times
I
I-
just thought that needed to be added to the
There you go.
conversation.
Yeah.
no, Levi, did you have
Oh,
it?
I'm sorry, Levi, I'm just hushing up now,
yeah.
believe it or not.
Go ahead, Ed.
I don't have anything, I don't think, to discuss.
Okay.
I'm good.
I'm gonna leave it there. So,
You ready for those sunglasses to go back up, aren't you?
well, he's moved inside now, I think. So,
It's getting too hot.
He's wanting to dig into that sandwich.
That's
all
right.
righty, I reckon we'll go down to your report.
All right, well, thank you. Wrapping it up here, and I have a couple more things to add to my report, but none of them were long, so that's good. On the playground equipment, we went ahead and placed the order as you all instructed, so we could take advantage of the sales price. And so unfortunately, we've not been able to send them the check yet. We're supposed to put 50% down, but because of our printing capability issues, we have not done that. But Jacob's reached out to them and let them know that it is forthcoming and this is a real decision. The equipment will probably arrive October, November. So
that
at
long?
that long, unfortunately. But we will likely be looking for some folks to help us take down the existing stuff, because that was not included in the cost. They're assuming they'll put it up, but that they'll have a clean slate. So at some point here, we'll be looking for some volunteers related to that. But generally, that's where we are on that. And I was, related to the park, asked about the pet item. And currently we continue the pet policy that's been there, that was there under the authority, which is to allow pets on a leash, and service animals, of course, are always welcome. Please pick up after your pets. And that has been historic, but I was brought to my attention, this board has not voted on that policy. So that is folded into the policy document that once we get some community input and
Right.
stuff will be in there for you all to take a formal vote as opposed to just grandfathering it in. But that's a little
Okay.
bit of the history there. On Friday, we had a very nice Zoom call with, I think, about 14 different organizations that are hosting ACE students for the summer and doing a lot of work with them. We are halfway through. And so, as is typical, some of our students, some got very active very early and have even completed their hours.
Right.
Others are just kind of noticing that they only have a couple more weeks to get their hours in. So the level of activity has picked up a little bit. And so we have some suggestions from the group. This was kind of a midsummer check-in. About how we could do things differently and better, maybe a little bit more app-based, since we're talking about folks that are of the age that they prefer apps. So we might look at that for next year. But right now, all the folks that are working with these students that have opportunities are emailing them to Kim and I, and then we'll get them blasted out to all the students. Just, hey, reminder, you're halfway through, and here's a bunch of opportunities. So they've been doing things from obviously helping Jacob a lot out with the trails and the rec park, to we have some of them are hosting dance classes at the Junebug Center, and doing a lot of summer camp things. They're working at EMS. Some of them are working with fire and rescue. So they are in all these nonprofits and government entities all across the county. They've been working with Flower Power and with Partnership for Floyd and Angels in the Attic, kind of all those folks. So they're all very excited, eager, and all the organizations are excited and would love to keep doing this in the future. So we're excited about that.
I'd like to just thank you both for all the effort that you've put in to this program to really get it sort of lassoed in, and yeah, I just think it's really great. It's great for the students, the organizations, and us as a whole.
When it first started, I figured, well, we'd get 10 or 12 a year.
What is our total number this year?
And it's like 60-something.
60-something?
To 60-something.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, between the ones that this first year and second.
Right.
And that
Right.
tickles me to death.
I know.
That many kids is getting an education.
Yep.
And I hope no matter who's sitting here, they continue that.
Yep.
Yep.
Because this county will, citizens, this board, the government, schools, everybody's gonna reap the rewards of that program.
Well, and you all stepping up this year, if I might, and filling the hole left by the Tobacco Commission is
Yeah.
really helpful.
I've
Makes
had
a
parents and
difference.
grandparents thank us for having it. Yeah.
That's great.
Wish we'd get one thing out of this.
One thing that we did right.
There you go.
To Ms. Bechtel's question and comments earlier, I wanted to let you know a little bit what's going on with Onward, which of course is our regional economic development group. I serve on the executive committee of that. We also have several folks in the community that are a part of that organization and the board. And so that organization is in the process of redoing its strategic plan. We had a 5-year strategic plan, have kind of met all of those requirements and are now revisiting. So yesterday, in the morning, there were meetings, I guess yesterday and, yeah, just yesterday, sorry, yesterday, there were meetings independently with each of the jurisdiction folks that were, that are part of the region. So ours was at the Hotel Floyd, and Ms. Bechtold was kind enough to join us. And then in the afternoon, we had a similar session, slightly different questions, but with the board members. And so they have been, I will say, at least at that level, they've been very cognizant of the fact that, you know, we are not Montgomery County. We want to play in the same field with them, but they need to understand we're a little bit different, and we require slightly different services. So when the board actually went through and prioritized what were some of the things we should focus on in the future, was mostly one of the top ones came back to common regional branding and marketing that branding out to include the diversity of the economy in the region. So, you know, we kind of joked about talking about, we both have the ability on 81 to have unmanned vehicles and drones, and in Floyd, you can come to the country store, and after you get out of your unmanned vehicle over there, you can come to the country store and have a really good time with us, and maybe buy some produce and meat produced by some of the folks here, so how to put that all together. So we were excited about that, but I will carry the message forward as requested. The next item, yeah, and I'll mention it too, we have an executive committee meeting next week, so I'll bring that up then.
You know, I hate to interrupt, but I'm going to.
Please.
Because we don't just have the country store, we also have Wildwood,
Yes.
which does the music and all of that also. So it's, you
They
know,
get the cruise-ins.
right,
you know,
so
Yeah.
stuff.
I really, yeah, the expansion beyond the town is so important to me.
Yes, that's very important.
And we're probably gonna have some others out in the community
Right.
as well.
Mhm.
May not be as big as what's in town, but still.
Yep, this week I've been to the soup shop and to the winery, so there you go.
Winery's not in
The winery is in it.
it.
Yeah.
Well, it
Yeah.
is.
It's in my district,
Floyd
just
Fest.
barely.
Just barely, okay.
Trust me, I'm aware of the wineries in the county.
Now, the other one is out next, what's that one out next to the Appalachia Villa?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's in
Okay.
Patrick.
That's in Patrick.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the one I get confused with.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Villa Appalachia.
yeah,
Mhm.
they're in Patrick.
Right.
Well, you know, it's just like Will's Village Mart.
Mhm.
A lot of people don't realize what all you can get there.
Yeah.
You know, they got their own meat room. you
Yeah.
know, Cut their fresh meats and everything, and, you know, and you got Jim's Grill, you know. I mean, it would really help Janice out. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
also, back out to the other end of the county, Levi just mentioning Apple Ridge Farm, you know, I mean, that place has,
Right. It's just, it seems,
Yeah.
it seems horribly neglectful to the county as in,
to just be so
yes,
centric focused.
yes.
Nothing
I've
against.
Right,
I've
but
actually-
I would rather,
Hold
you
on.
know, Wildwood Farms is a long trip for me, so, you know, to be
I've
focused
actually
just on
had-
town.
Had people say, well, why is everything going into town?
Right.
What about us?
I have too.
You know,
Yep.
and even on the tourism thing,
Right.
you know, they say, well, what about us?
Yep.
You know,
The
and
zip
so-
lines is not near town, and
That's
so if we
right.
can
Right.
encourage, you know, help the other businesses nearby there.
And our efforts on agritourism that are coming out of our development department too has been a help. But again, it would be nice to have a regional
Correct.
look in, so
Focus.
yeah. Yep.
Thank you.
We'll do it. The Agency on Aging, as you all know, I serve on the board for the Agency of Aging, and right now we're meeting mostly quarterly. They're likely needing to move their current location, which is in Fairlawn. The building has been purchased, and they are getting a heavy foot to move along. So looking for space for that and somewhere that is hopefully kind of convenient to the whole region. So that and just continuing a lot of the funding. There are some ARPA funds that are with the Agency on Aging that they're still kind of looking at ways that are best to utilize that. A lot of the funds in Floyd were utilized through, that the agency got, were to move to home-delivered meals. And so in the last year, the number of home-delivered meals in Floyd was actually disproportionately high compared to the other counties. So appreciate them really looking out for our senior folks. And they are very much on board to, as soon as our rec building is ready, they would love to start doing the Friendship Cafe at the rec building. So we're excited about that. And I guess I should give you an update on that. Hopefully, there's windows and roof going on up there today.
Windows are in, I believe, the last time I was up there.
The windows were the big holdup. They were ordered as soon as we let them know they had the contract, and it's taken this long for the windows to get here. So we're very, very close on that building.
Should be done by the 1st of August, shouldn't it?
I would think so. Yeah, we're pretty close. We're pretty close. Well, we had said July, so, you know, given everything, that's pretty good, I
Well, the
think.
window holdups what threw everything out.
Yeah.
because Couldn't do a lot inside.
It's still
without-
July.
It's still July, that's right. That's right. Election security internship update, but of course, I see Amy and Mr. Smith here, so they can fill in if there's anything that I missed. But as you know, we have some interns that have been working with Chris and Amy a lot on updating a lot of the things related to cybersecurity, particularly as it relates to the election. And they're Virginia Tech students. And so one of the things that's changed a little bit is, I think it's fair to say, all three of us were pretty strong, 4 of us, including Mr. Smith, that we really need those students to come to Floyd and present to both you all and to the Board of Elections. And so we've talked to them about extending, because they're supposed to be done in August, but have them come in September to the September meetings. It's mostly been a good thing, I think, because it's relatively new. There's been some bumps along the way, some maybe miscommunications about how much time and where, but we've been working through that and really appreciate it, and appreciate all the time that everybody's been putting into this.
And as I understand from the IT report, you've had a lot of time with this group, and I want to thank you, Chris, for your efforts. Your discussion did not go unnoticed as to what you were saying about the time that's been needed. And, overall, these are things that we had to do. So having students do them has been good, but your oversight, I think, has been critical in making it successful. So thank you.
My pleasure.
Anything else, Amy? Is that good? Okay. Let's see, other quick things, economic development related, and of course, as you all know, Ladina is still, she's keeping up with us email, but she's not feeling well. So there's a lot of that will push to the evening meeting. You should find in your correspondence, however, a write-up about the road at the Commerce Center with a little bit more background about how we got here, how much has been expended from where, and what the potential final ask is, which is $117,000. It should be in there. If it's not, we'll get it to you.
I didn't see it in there.
Not
Did I
in
not get to you?
correspondence.
The Ladina's thing when she sent it back last night. It will be there before you leave. How's
Okay.
that?
It's okay.
I may have misunderstood and did not place it in there thinking it was on the next board meeting.
Okay,
So
yeah.
Okay.
So that way we'll get it in there so you can see it, and if you have questions and clarifications, because it is a pretty mammoth project. I mean, so far it's been you'll see on that, $2.47 million
Yeah.
of grant funds that have been put into this from EDA, ARC. That all relates to the engineering and the utilities and some of and clearing and all of that kind of thing. So, to date, the county has already put in $110,000 towards this project. So, but just again, by way of background, Ladina has been able to find an extra little more than $900,000 to help with the road, but it requires us to put up, you all to put up another $117,000.
Right.
So, given that level of investment, figured it'd be better to get you something in advance and have an opportunity to follow up with Ladina or myself a little bit more about it.
And that's all be contingent on what the final cost comes in
Yes, correct. Yeah, things are getting a little better, but I don't know if it's good enough yet. We'll see. So that's a little bit there. Otherwise, I have talked between Ladina and I, we have talked to a couple of different economic development prospects who just kind of come in and informed us that they're looking around. If they get to the point that they're getting serious, what my advice to folks have been is you all like to be informed because the community expects you all to be informed. So when some of these things start to gel, if they would let us know, then we'll go ahead and get you all connected, recognizing no zoning and all those things, but at least so you guys can be familiar with what's happening. Other items real quick. I did go over and chat with Lisa Baker and Barbara the other day about transient occupancy tax. I remember this was still a discussion point. I said what I'd do after the budget. And so I will tell you, I gave them the information that some of you have been sharing about where you think there's some folks that might not be listed. A couple of the ones you gave me actually are listed. I'll tell you from when Lisa was doing this, when she was a line staff member, she told me there were 20. And now we're to 87 and counting. And in fact, Barbara does an excellent job of scouring social media and other places to try to find folks and then give them a call and remind them of their obligations. And so she had a list of 16 more she was going to call this week.
I was actually going to ask you about that, so you answered my question. Because I know a couple that I don't think has been spoke to yet.
Yeah, I think the challenge what Lisa, I'm sorry, the challenge that Lisa and Barbara shared with me, of course, is there's one challenge of making sure people know they have that obligation and getting them to pay in. The question that was raised about, for instance, saying I need 3 weeks and somebody contacting them and say, we'll do 1 week through Airbnb and 2 weeks off the books, that's very challenging for them to be able to do anything about. Fortunately, there was some legislation that was passed this session that will help because right now, places like Airbnb just send the county a check. But it doesn't say this amount is associated with this many room nights at this location. It's just a check. So one of the bills that was passed this session requires those organizations to start identifying taxpayers. So I think that will help a little bit too.
Must have been taking some money away from me, so
So they acted.
Yeah, as you can imagine, it makes it really challenging for the staff over there to have conversations with people. So that's been good. She's been really helpful. And we did talk about if you all ever revisited the rate, how challenging or not challenging it would be. So she's prepared to answer questions on that if that comes up. Other kind of economic development related is, I think I may have mentioned before, but we are working pretty closely with the State Tourism Corporation, they're doing a booth at the International Bluegrass IBMA in Raleigh, and so they're going to let Andrew and I and Kathleen tag along as long as we commit to actually work in the Virginia booth, which we will. So that is the plan. That's in late September, I think. So, and we'll all be down there. And Andrew and I have been working a lot with Kathleen on that. It's been really exciting. We do have to have a woman in bluegrass from Floyd County. So we've quizzed Dylan a little bit, but if y'all have any suggestion about who our woman in bluegrass should be, that's the theme this year. So we've all got to have a woman in bluegrass that represents Floyd County.
It should be easy to do.
Yeah, it's a little challenging for us. And then the final item I would mention, because it's kind of a follow-up with the conversation with Mr. Clark, is we've been doing quarterly staff meetings, but they've been on Zoom with VDOT. I went and met specifically with Jesse Miller and David Clark into last week and kind of walked through some specific things. But we're going to move those meetings to continue to do them quarterly, but I think we're going to go ahead and go to their offices and actually sit down and work through some things a little better than we can with Zoom. both with the residency and the rest of the VDOT folks. So David has been, I will say, very, very approachable and helpful on this and several other things we've been working through. So, that is my report.
People got to understand that David comes here, we tell him what we need and everything. Then he's got bosses to answer to. But when the rubber meets the road, it comes out of Richmond. And we're not going to get nothing done until we shake the money loose from them up there.
Yep.
Yeah, and people don't realize that. They think it, it's up to us, but it's not,
I was just gonna say, I have one question under correspondence.
Mm-hmm.
And that's with the new animal shelter, private animal shelter.
Mm-hmm.
Will we have some type of agreement with them? Has anybody broached that subject?
An agreement?
Well, see, we have our facility.
Mm-hmm.
From time to time, our facility gets full.
Mm-hmm.
And we need another place to place animals
Mm-hmm.
or move. I mean, I just see that as an opportunity.
Interesting.
I didn't know if anybody had brought that up or what their planned facilities or what, but
I do believe the Humane Society has always worked very well with our,
Right,
and this is the Humane Society's.
right, I know.
Yeah,
That's what
so,
I'm saying, since it's
you
an
want it-
agriculture department recognized, authorized, permitted, then maybe we need some kind of.
like, on paper.
On paper
Yeah.
agreement.
Okay. Yeah, we
I
can
mean-
certainly work towards that. As you know, this is their new property.
Right.
That they received some
Right.
donation to buy that property and now have actually finally converted it.
Right.
So,
Well, they've worked well with us. through the
Absolutely.
years. I don't mean anything derogatory. I'm just saying that would be an option as a backup. I don't know if that would be through us or the way things are set up or the sheriff, whoever needs to initiate it. It might be a good idea to at least approach. Now, they may say no. If they say no, then it's a dead in the water. But we do, from time to time, run into the situation where we're full. And I would rather do it here, have an agreement with somebody here locally than I had to transport animals to Montgomery County or Carroll
Sure.
County or Patrick or, like you said, shop home first.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah, exactly.
This may not be appropriate, but being through animal control, have we got closure on our little herd of cattle yet?
no, but that's on the
It's still
list. At
working
least they're
its way
not costing
through.
us anything anymore.
Right.
Because
They
they can
won't.
eat the grass.
Well, as long as they stay healthy.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
As long as we ain't putting a bunch of money into them,
Right. Sorry.
That's right.
Yep.
Do you know when that may come to a close or any idea?
No, but I'll put that on the list to check on.
There's still some
yes.
court issues, right?
Yep, still some court issues. Yes, the puppies we talked about all went back. But yeah, the cows are still ours.
Yeah, that's still a sore spot for me too. That and another thing that happened a while back, so,
Yep. Yep.
I still get
So-
blistered on that one.
But we'll go ahead and, I'll reach out to Patrice and to Sarah a little bit about the Humane Society. And I
Was
think
the
that
auctioneer
is it.
say all finished, all done?
Yeah, the rest of these are mostly other things that have come in, that might just be of interest to you, but. Yeah.
Anybody else got anything?
It started thunderstorming here, so we can continue on if we need to.
We got your pack of stuff here, Levi. You got your desk.
Yeah, I noticed if you had all this free time, I still got about 65, 70 acres of hay you could have helped me with.
Got all my first cutting done.
Well, one of them's a freebie and I couldn't turn it down, so.
There you go.
My name's Jimmy, take all you give me, so. Take a motion. Oh, go
I
ahead.
failed to mention, by the way, this is what'll be going, we bought 6 of these with the bear money.
Oh,
So this is what'll be going up at 6 of the sites.
I'm glad you did that, because you triggered something else I
Yeah.
forgot about.
Forgot
I saw a picture, and you may have seen it on Facebook, where that dumpster was turned over.
The
Is
bear?
that one of ours?
I didn't see that. I missed that. We'll ask Mark, because I
Yeah,
missed
they had flipped the dumpster over, and just one side of it was open. They scattered the trash.
Wow.
I think that if that actually happened, if it's ours, I think it should be looked into, because I can't see a bear turning over them dumpsters.
Yeah,
Here's my front
Just
yard.
3 of them, I guess, but
Wow.
not one.
yeah.
Yes.
My front yard.
After we adjourn, I'll tell you a good one. them bears.
Before you adjourn.
Yeah.
And she brought, any idea when we'll see that one or two on Route 8?
Heading towards the parkway.
Yes, yeah, I remember I went out there after last time, Mr. Booth, yeah. We should be able to get that out there. I'll remind Mark, we're finally fully staffed.
Right.
So, but yes, thank you. I'll remind him of that.
Maybe gravel it a little bit before we put it in or something.
Okay. Yeah, they did get the gravel up to off of Hummingbird, but they didn't put the ones back on 8. And so the instructions now are whenever they feel they need to pull them for bears or something, please take pictures and get them to us, so that way you can let folks know who are concerned about, this is why we had to.
I don't have to have pictures, just
Yeah.
if I know ahead of time, or know when the decision's made, then I can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Has
Right.
Cheryl said anything about the one on Black Ridge?
Mm-mm. Really want to.
I know that certain people had to go up there and talk to him the other day, because he actually had his land surveyed,
Uh-huh.
and so where our entrance is to the green boxes,
Mm-hmm.
he's power brush. So it's hard for the trucks to get in and
I did
out.
see that. Yes.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah,
thought it
so-
fell off, but yeah.
I told him, I said, well, what they need to do, the landowner needs to move them down a little bit, because I told them, and I've told them, the landowner don't want them moved, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And they know they was there when they built Granny a little house, you know?
Mhm.
They should have put her on the other side, you know? But, you know, we can't do nothing as long as the landowners want them there, so.
Yep.
But they can't understand that, so.
But
I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
second,
I'll second.
give it to Levi.
Okay.
I'll second.
Adios. Have
All
fun.
right, on the motion to adjourn,
Wait a
Ms. Bechtel.
Yes.
Mr. Cox.
Yes.
Ms. Kuchenbuck.
Yes.
Mr. Booth.
Yes.
And Mr. Turner.
Yes.
All right, thank you. You all are stand adjourned.